I think we're set. Okay, thanks for your patience, guys. I promise next time we'll be a little more prepared. So thanks for coming. Thanks for being patient. For those of you that don't know me, I am Serena Roberts. I have been co-leading this user group with a sort of core and also kind of rotating group of people since 2016. We meet every month for the most part. We used to skip the month of conference when it was in November, but we decided that because it was, kind of much earlier in the month in May, to just keep up with our monthly schedule and do a conference recap session for you guys. And so I do have some slides prepared to share my personal experience at the conference, which was super fun and super exhausting at the same time. And admittedly, my presentation will be more on the social and personal interactions, because those to me were far more impactful than any of the sessions that I actually was able to attend. So I will also open that up for other people to share their experiences, whether that was virtual at the conference, just what were your highlighted moments. We want it to be super conversational, not just me talking at y'all, because that's boring. And then I actually have a game, a contest for us to play. It's a Kahoot. So if you guys have done that before, it's the first time that I've ever created one, and it was much more difficult than I thought it was going to be. So we're going to give it a whirl. But that's inspired by one of my experiences at the Tableau Conference, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. So welcome to our May meeting of the Twin Cities Tableau User Group. As I mentioned, so we always do kind of welcome, hey, how are you? And as we get our crap together and get the show rolling, we always do a get to know a member as well, where we take someone, maybe it's their first time, maybe they've been here for a while, and they just kind of want to raise their hand and let everybody know who they are. So we'll do 1 or 2 people there for get to know a member, and we also do that if we ever run into technical issues between presentations. It's just great filler. So there's a couple of prescribed questions that we ask, but also feel free to totally go off script, because we want to know about what you want us to know about you. So don't feel confined there. So our only formal presentation today is me. Sorry about that. We were going to have Autumn Batani, and I should have deleted that from this slide, but did not. She had to, she came on at the last minute, and then we just decided it was going to be too much additional stress for her, just on the heels of conference. So we will have Autumn Batani back at a future meeting, promise. And then what we always close off with, as long as we have time, is a group therapy session, or if you learn something cool, a quick little tip, I found a new shortcut, or I figured out you could do this in Web Edit, or whatever it is, and you want to take a couple minutes and just share with us what that is. That's what that last section is for, as long as we have time. And I actually do have an issue that I would love to see if anyone can help me with. I asked, when I was at conference, I asked the Flurlage twins, I asked Ann Jackson and Luke Stanky and Luke Comiskey. Nobody could figure this out for me. So if someone can help me, with this, I will be, I will be forever indebted. I will owe you many beers or coffees or wines or club sodas or whatever it is that you drink. Okay, let's see. Also, we just like to call out some fun sort of either Tableau events or Tableau related events, or data visualization related events. So in shameless plug, on the 7th of June, we're having a She Talks Data event, and I'm usually behind the scenes on that. I've been running that group since 2016 also. And so for the first time, I will be the guest speaker instead of behind the scenes. So if you want to find out how in the heck someone like me got into this industry, or just kind of how I'm standing in front of you here today, that is the place where you'll find that. It is in person. It's in Bloomington, and we have wine and food, and it's great fun. Megan has been there a couple times. Also, I just thought I'd call out that the IO Festival is happening in Minneapolis, the 14th through the 17th. It's not a free event. The ticket is actually relatively kind of expensive. I want to say it's like $300-400, something like that. But as far as like user experience, design, like all things visual and how users interact with that, it is a phenomenal festival to attend. Has anyone ever heard of it? No? Okay. Well, I'll post a link or something in the chat in a little bit, or maybe somebody virtual can do that for me. And then of course we have our June TC Tug. We do have one presenter already lined up. So if you've got something that you would like to share with us and would like to get on that agenda, we can certainly make room for you there, or any future user group meeting this year. So we're always looking to fill our agenda spots with presentations from the community, and they don't have to be super polished. We're a pretty fun, informal group, so just come as you are, and we're gonna love you anyway. Okay. And then we just we give everyone a minute to maybe share other events that they know about that I didn't capture. If you are hiring for an open position on your team, if you are looking for a job, now is the moment where you can just feel free to unmute yourself and tell us all about it. Don't be shy. Oh, thank you, Mike, for the IO Festival link. Preeti asks, it's my first time here. Is there a way to ask a question? Preeti, yes. Unmute yourself and just ask it.
Can you see me? So
we can hear you.
I'm first time here. My name is Preeti Shah, and I'm in California actually, not in Minnesota.
Oh, so, nice.
But
Preeti's from California.
Yes.
I'm gonna like relay because the audio in here is quiet for the in-person people. Go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, but my team, like my department, is in Minnesota.
Awesome.
I'm remote here. I'm with the healthcare, so we have one facility here, and then main facility is in Minnesota. So that's why I'm in California. My question is, I just wanted to ask how this is the challenge for me. Like, once you create the Tableau dashboard, you wanted to put it out there for everyone to see it, but you don't have enough license. So let's say I have limited license, but I have a big user group. Is there a way you put on an intranet there, they can see it with the filters and stuff? I don't know how the other people are doing it. I'm curious to know.
Yeah, that's a question. Let me rephrase it for the people in the room. Okay. So Preeti is asking about when she builds a dashboard and she wants to share it still internally inside her organization to people that don't have Tableau licenses. How have people tackled that?
Yes, thank you.
If Tableau Reader is supported by the organization, that's a good way to do that.
Tableau Reader.
Tableau Reader, yep.
So in Tableau Reader, they won't occupy the license, right?
No, think of it like when you open a PDF in Acrobat Reader. Tableau Reader is that to Tableau as Acrobat Reader is to Adobe.
But then they won't have the option for the filtering. Then they won't have option for the filters, right? I think.
No, they can still
no,
interact with it. That's what I do with my organization. Sorry.
Say it again, please.
I'm the only one with a license because I'm the only one who creates them. And then the people who need to like interact and like use them for their decision making just use Tableau Reader. And they can still run through all the filters and, you know, interact with the dashboards. They just can't like change anything or edit stuff or.
Oh, that's great. That I think that's what I'm looking for. Is there a way, like, you know, I can email you if I need some help on that one?
Sure, yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, and we do also have a Twin Cities Tableau user group LinkedIn group.
yep.
So if you go to LinkedIn and type in Twin Cities Tableau user group, you'll find the group. And you can post questions there also and sort of
Okay.
crowdsource answers and maybe
Okay.
find Anna there as well. But yeah, Tableau Reader is probably a good place to start.
Thank you so much. Like I will explore more on that one.
Yeah, Megan in the audience here did say that the version of Tableau Reader needs to match your version of Tableau
Oh.
Desktop. Is that what you're saying?
Sometimes they'll go out and just download the most recent Tableau Reader, but it needs to match whatever your.
Yeah, needs to match.
Okay,
Yes, pay
that's
attention to the version of your Tableau Desktop and the version of your Tableau Reader.
great. Thank you so much. That will be helpful.
Yep,
Oh,
right on. Like we haven't even started and we're already helping people with problems. Okay,
thank you so much.
yeah,
everyone.
thanks, Preeti. I'm glad you just holler that out. That's what we're here for. Okay, so that was kind of a get to know a member. Now we all know Preeti a little bit better. So let's maybe do one more. Should we do someone from the in-person contingency? Do you have any volunteers? You'll have to come up here. Everybody knows you, Vince. James, would you want to come up? Yeah, so also if nobody volunteers, I'll just pick you. It's like, that's how that works. All right, everybody, meet James.
Cool. So yeah, I'm James, first time here, currently work for Caribou Coffee for 15 years now. Started on the warehouse, but my current role is operations business analyst. So the type of information I analyze is how tests are performing, things like drive-through times, also building reports for the field DOs, DMs down to GMs on traffic, sales, and things like that. Probably been using Tableau since 2020 primarily. Before that, it was Excel pivot tables and things like that. So what am I good at in Tableau? I guess taking feedback from DMs and GMs and then tailoring those reports to their needs and building the drill downs to what they're specifically looking for. What do I struggle with? I would say blending data together, using multiple sources, multiple data points and things like that, getting them to blend in the right and correct way.
That's what a struggle is, isn't it?
Yes. So.
Awesome. Well, welcome. Thank you for coming, James.
Thank you.
Okay. So we may come back to that and do one more if we have time. Let's see, do I have any more slides? Yep, that is the end of our intro. So let me jump into my other presentation here. All right, and so just a show of in-person and virtual hands. Oh, let me swap this so you guys. That's the nice thing about working for yourself. you can make your title be whatever you want. Actually, I think that's what I want to do. Is it? Yes. Okay, now both of that looks right. Okay, we're learning. We're getting better and smarter. So yeah, show of hands, who attended, either virtually or in person? I mean, I did, otherwise I wouldn't be giving this presentation. Okay, how do I see you all? Okay, I see 5 hands. If I'm doing this right. 6, 7, 8. Okay, numbers going up. So yeah, I mean, a pretty good percentage of you. That's awesome. Well, like I said in the beginning, if you have comments, highlights of your own to share, whether you attended in person or virtual, I would love to hear them. Because I feel like this conference is just a little bit different for everybody, because there's just so many different sort of paths and tracks to take. Okay, so what this conference was like for me. All right, uneventful flight out of MSP at 7:45 in the morning. That was a bit early. Yeah, no issues with the flight. I landed, got checked in, I quick grabbed my badge, and then I ran to the opening keynote. Well, honestly, what I did was I went to a bathroom that was like very off the beaten path, and then changed in there quick because my room wasn't ready. So, you know, all that fun stuff. Anyway, so made it to the keynote in the nick of time. And so the keynote this year kind of consisted of 2 things that usually happen separately at the Tableau conference. It was sort of like that opening keynote, which is, you know, someone from Tableau, usually the CEO, just to kind of like welcome opening remarks, you know, of the vision, all the feel good, like get pumped up kind of stuff. Mark Nelson is the current CEO of Tableau right now. He's a super nice, approachable guy. He runs every morning at 6 o'clock, so he's not quite my people, but yeah, very nice man. So after that initial opening keynote, it kind of went right into Devs on Stage, which if you've attended a Tableau conference before, is a separate thing, and it's just like one of the most highly sought after events, highly attended, because they bring up their actual developers on stage to talk about the new features that are being released like throughout the rest of this year and like into Q1, maybe Q2 of next year. The whole point is just to give us that insight into the new and cool things that are coming. And I'm going to just kind of, you know, go through here. I'm not going to go like super deep into detail on each one of these. If y'all are super excited about one of them and you want to share more details about that, I'm happy to give the floor away. So Mark talked about the data gap, and that's really just, you know, the gap between the number of people that need basic data skills inside an organization and the number of people that have basic data skills inside of an organization, and really like how do you democratize those skill sets. He sees that as sort of the biggest opportunity in front of our community and Tableau at large. Also call it Tableau Online is now Tableau Cloud. So when you hear Tableau Cloud, it's not a new thing. It's just Tableau Online rebranded, because Salesforce is all about cloud. It's kind of part of the effort to bring their, like, to converge their marketing efforts a little bit. Okay, so technical improvements. So Tableau Cloud will now support region-specific sites. So this can come in handy when you have like compliance and performance issues or compliance and performance considerations to how you set up your Tableau server. So you can set a specific site to be in a specific geographical region and you know, do some cool things with that way. If you guys have a particular use case or you're excited to try that out, I'd love to hear that. I can't think of anyone that I would try that out on right away, but it's good to know that that is there and coming. Data stories, that is, as I understand it, web-based. So it's only going to live inside the web, Tableau, inside Tableau Cloud. And that is Tableau's ability to just create a narrative for you based on the dashboard that you're looking at. So there's some natural language processing involved. From what I understand, Tableau purchased a company that had this all built out and then integrated it into their web platform. So it's for people who have a hard time just kind of like understanding what the data is telling them. So TBD on like how well this works. If your metadata isn't perfect, if your field names aren't perfect, yeah. Well, so we'll see how well that works in like a real life situation where people make mistakes. And
a big win for accessibility.
Yeah, absolutely a big win for accessibility too. So, and then predictive model building, which, as I understand it, is essentially Einstein. If you're familiar with that, I hadn't used it before, but it's sort of like step-by-step predictive model building inside Tableau Cloud. So probably some cool opportunities there.
They mentioned that's going to be an add-on or something.
You know, they very purposely don't talk about like, oh, that's going to cost you extra, and that's not. So unknown whether that's going to be just kind of part of it, or if there will be another add-on. Yeah, I bet you it would at least be part of like the data management add-on that they're trying to drive people to, would be my guess, but yes. Okay, shared dimensions. So admittedly, I was distracted when they talked about this, so I had to go back and rewatch this Tableau Tim's. I don't know if you guys know that guy, Tableau Tim. He did a super nice sort of recap, and so I watched that. So shared dimensions is the ability to take to join two different data sources on two different dimensions inside the relationships. Not like the more traditional, I'm going to join this data source to this data source. And there you could always do multiple dimensions, but inside what was originally called the noodle, which is relationships now, you can have multiple dimensions per connection there. So that's something like pretty basic, like that should have probably have been there from the start, but we're happy to have it now. So that's shared dimensions. Multi-row calculations in Tableau Prep. This one, like think about when you're inside Tableau Desktop and you need to create a running sum or a running average or some of these table calculations, you can, well, maybe not now, but eventually, coming soon, you'll be able to do that inside Tableau Prep. So yeah, it's a heavier load when you're processing data inside Tableau Prep, but once you get it into Tableau Desktop, the performance gains for sure. So I'm excited to try that one out once it's generally available. Data orientation. I completely forgot what this was about. To be honest, I put this deck together like right after I got back. Someone help me. What was data orientation?
I can help out if you want.
Please.
It's basically a new panel you can add to your dashboards that gives you,
Yes.
It's basically a help box, but it's kind of pre-built by Tableau.
It's all coming back to me now. Yeah, so data orientation will be like a little banking mic. So to be able to provide information about the underlying data to the users so that you can head off all those questions like, oh, when was the last refresh? Where is it coming from? What data sources is it plugging into? What's the refresh schedule? Like those kinds of things. You can find that information now, but it takes a lot of digging. So data orientation is really bubbling all that information right up to the surface and making it super easy to access and accessible. Lastly, image roles. So when you use images inside Tableau, image roles will allow you to assign additional information about that image. So you can assign, where that URL, the link to that image is coming from, and so you can plug that data in there and then classify it as a URL. So when you're using like dashboard actions and things like that, where it's going to behave differently depending on whether it's a URL or not, you'll be able to understand that right out of the gate. You can also do the same thing with QR codes and then image descriptions, which again is super helpful for accessibility purposes. So just think about it like it's like alt information for images. So that's the key takeaways from our opening keynote. There's probably lots more technical data to go over on each one of these. If you are interested in learning more about any of these, you can rewatch those sessions. You can check out Tableau Tim's overview. I thought that was really helpful. But yeah, cool stuff coming. I'm excited about it. Anybody have anything, like, did I miss anything from that Devs on Stage?
This wasn't in Devs on Stage, but there was somebody in the room that asked about the licensing on Model Builder.
Yeah.
And according to our success partner, it's going to be packaged just like Prep. So it'll be on the same license key as your desktop and shouldn't be an additional cost.
Oh, okay. But maybe to automate it?
Automating it should be done through server. I'm not sure what the online/cloud situation is like. I haven't had to address that.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Mike. That's good to know. So sounds like not additional cost to build your models, but maybe additional costs to train them, run them, host them, automate them, schedule them. Yeah, all that fun stuff. Right. Unless you want to wake up at 6:30 in the morning and run this damn thing yourself, you're gonna buy that data management add-on. I've been there not that long ago. Okay. So next was the another keynote, Hannah Fry, and she was just fabulous. Like, she just had such a cool personality. She was so relatable and authentic, and she reminded me so much of Mary from Downton Abbey. Like, her voice, like I closed my eyes and I heard Mary from Downton Abbey talking to me about predicting human behavior with data, which obviously doesn't happen in the show. So it was kind of weird, but she was fabulous. I would not do her justice by going over her entire presentation. So that is one of the sessions that you can just go out to the Tableau Conference website and rewatch. I highly recommend it. It's not even that long, but she was fabulous. She provided a couple of examples around the Challenger and how, through asking for the right data could have very simply avoided that outcome. So yeah, she was fabulous. She really talked about like focusing on asking the right data and how we tend to overcomplicate simple questions and then simplify complex questions by not looking at the right kind of data. But yeah, please check her out. You won't regret it. She was amazing. Okay, let me check the chat because I know there's some more chats here and I'm terrible at talking and checking the chat. Okay, I think we're all right there. Let's see, something about hearing. Yes, Lynn, I'm sorry. I will repeat the questions from the live audience. I know the audio setup here is not ideal, but actually I could try one thing. I'm going to try something really quick. Hang tight. Let me escape out of presentation mode.
Hey, we're not acting.
Mumblers.
We're not asking the real question.
Let's do. I'm going to switch the speakers to the projector and see how that works. But Yeah. What I will need is one volunteer to unmute themselves and say something.
Something.
I'd volunteer.
Hey.
Lynn volunteers as tribute.
Thanks, Lynn.
We can hear it. Can you guys hear the people in the audience better?
Hello, Lynn.
Yeah, hey,
Is it the same or is it better?
it's a little better. I couldn't hear
better.
it all before.
Okay. Well, let's roll with that because we can at least hear, or you guys can at least hear them better. All right. Thank you for saying something, Lynn.
I was just reading the captions when someone was talking.
Yeah, the captions are very helpful. I watch my TV with closed captions. Does anyone else do that?
Yeah.
I started doing that when my kids were little because I was like, you're screaming and talking at me, and I can't read it. Or they were sleeping and I didn't want to be too loud. Anyway, okay, let me go back to presentation mode.
I also found out that you can bring a signed poster that you made to a keynote at the Tableau Conference, and that's okay.
Right, and no one will tackle you for it.
No.
Was that your sign that Hannah was reacting to?
Yeah.
Okay.
It just, I think that was Friday at RY, and we had a moment between she and I in front of 5,000 people, and it was really special.
I saw
We're
that.
like best friends now.
Yeah, I thought maybe it was you, but now you've
Of course it's
confirmed.
me.
Now you've confirmed it. Okay. All right, moving on. So for those of you that attended virtually, maybe you caught my little short stint on Tableau's new game show called Name That Tableau Function, where I competed head-to-head with our very own Tableau visionary, Luke Stankey, who has been a Tableau visionary like 5 times now, and it was basically like bringing a gun to a knife fight. I thought I was gonna absolutely just like tank. I was like, but you know what? It'll be fun. So I went with it anyway. Turns out I only lost to him by 2 points. So yay for my confidence, self-confidence. What's that?
Out of how many points?
There was like 8, 7, yeah. It wasn't too bad. I did way better than I thought I was going to.
You're right.
Yeah.
No,
Hey, you score a point
exactly.
against Luke, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah, no, there was I think 8 questions. So we are going to play our very own version of Name That Tableau Function in Kahoot style after I'm done blabbering to you guys. So you can relive that experience with me without Luke Stankey intimidating the hell out of you. What's that?
He's not on the call.
I don't think Luke is on here. No. Okay, so I closed that night. So that'll happen on Tuesday, the day that I got there. We closed that evening out with a community appreciation night, which was geared towards the Tableau visionaries and the Tableau ambassadors. It was supposed to be like a special appreciation night for them. There was still quite a few people there, and I almost lost my 90s kid badge because I did not know who Spinderella was. Nobody? Anybody else? Anybody else in that same boat? Okay, well, that makes me feel a little better. I spent my 90s listening to like Nirvana and Bush, maybe some Tupac, and I was not listening to Salt and Pepper. And so she was like the 3rd person in Salt and Pepper. She was like, so there's Salt and Pepper, and then there's Spinderella, who's a DJ. So she got she was in the background usually. Anyway, it was super fun.
She's now the only DJ I can name. So.
Right? I can maybe name 2. Anyway, it was really fun. And we very much appreciated Tableau going to that length just to make us feel special. So, and that was actually a pretty tame night too. I think I was in bed by like 11.
Still
12
pretty
maybe.
early. Way cooler story early. I was in bed by 6 a.m.
Yeah, well, there's another night, don't you worry. Okay, So that brought us to Wednesday. And so I'm obviously I'm not covering everything. There were so many sessions there and I missed so many of them, either because like I was in other sessions or I was like dying and needed to sleep. And it was just really dry there and exhausting. Or I was talking to people and having an amazing time. So I'm really focusing on the highlights, but just know that there was so much more to this, much more than partying, although that was fun. So Wednesday we saw a keynote where Neil Myrick, who leads up the Tableau Foundation. If you're not familiar with the Tableau Foundation, that's sort of like their philanthropic arm. They just try to do a whole bunch of good in the world with their tool and with the skill sets that they have available. So during that same keynote, we heard from this world-renowned chef, his first name was Andre. I can't remember his last name, but he runs an organization. Wait, what? It could have been. But he runs an organization called World Central Kitchen. And so they respond to crisis events all over the world, and they come in and they cook, provide meals for people in crisis, such as Ukraine. And one of the things that really stood out to me when I was listening to this is that he was talking about how they have, like, the whole organization is only like 14 people. 14 people are employees of World Central Kitchen. And of those 14 people, like only 3 or 4 of them are actually on the ground in Ukraine, and they are still able to feed like 350,000 meals a day. And they do this, obviously they have data and technology to support their operation, but their model is that they work with the infrastructures that are already in these communities. So they'll go in and they will buy food from the local farmers, and they will pay wages to they'll contract with the restaurants that already have these kitchens, they already have these people, and they'll just get those machines running again, and then they will centralize a place to distribute those meals throughout the region. So not only are they feeding people, they're actually infusing money into their economy, which helps them, 10 times, right, in the long term. So I was super impressed to hear that. And then we also met Dr. David Turner. He was involved with a project called the People's Budget of LA, and that was community-led social change with community-based data. So he put together a series of surveys where they collected data from their I think it was at the county level, might have been at the city level, but they asked people, like, where do you want your tax dollars to be spent? And they used the same categories that their local government uses to, right? So it's like, here's where your money is getting spent. They took, they didn't show anybody where those dollars were actually getting spent, and then they just said, hey, like, prioritize this. Where do you want your money to be spent? And then they used Tableau to create a dashboard that essentially was a mirror image, where the things that they wanted their tax dollars to go to was the last thing that their tax dollars were going to, and like the last thing on their list was the first thing. And so they're, like, what a powerful message. Like, these are people, these are your constituents. Like, these are the people you're supposed to be serving, and you're doing the literal opposite of what they want you to do. So they are actually driving change through this community-led, community-based data with the help of Tableau and the Tableau Foundation. And then, as sort of the same part of that segment, we also heard from Sheila Herbert, who, like, from a personality standpoint, she was far more like subdued and kind of quiet. You could tell she was just like, get me off this stage as soon as possible. But like, those people absolutely exist, and it doesn't mean that they're not doing amazing things. It just means they're not as comfortable talking in front of thousands of people. But she works for a company called Measures for Justice. I think she's their chief product officer, if I remember right. And they focus on making accurate criminal justice data and their insights accessible to the public to try to drive reform. So trying to shed light on, are there any any trends or red flags that we should be looking at in terms of the sentences and the convictions that are being handed out across, you know, racial and socioeconomic lines across the country. So a lot. I have done a little bit of volunteer work in that space also, and if you know anything about that, that is an absolute data nightmare, because each precinct has its own like process for requesting data. Each, you know, of their data sets are structured differently and probably come in 17 different CSV files or JSON files or whatever that is. It's a friggin' nightmare. So their organization, they're focusing on making those requests across the nation and then normalizing that data and creating these really nice, impactful visualizations and making them available to like district attorneys' offices so they can see, here's what you're doing. Like, are you proud of that? Do you want to change something? Yes, shame. Anyway, so super cool stuff to just see that other people are doing in the world and that Tableau is in some way, shape, or form involved with. So good job. All right. So Ironviz. Ironviz is one of the highlights, probably the highlight of the conference. It is super fun. I've got some opinions about maybe why it's not the greatest thing for the community itself that we can talk about later. But Ironviz is it's structured and hosted a lot like the Iron Chef competition. Like there's lots of drama and flashing lights and people are wearing chef, whatever you call them, chef jackets. And it's just they make a big deal out of it. Everyone in the audience got these like blow up plastic thingies. They called them bam bams. And you know, everyone's supposed to bang them together and make this horrendous noise. And I mean, it's cool. It's
horrendous noise.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Just hope you're not hungover.
Yeah. The energy was great. So it's Tableau, or the Ironviz is always 3 contestants. And so if you're not familiar with this, just a couple of little high-level context things. It's 3 contestants that are identified through 3 other feeder contests. So they have 3 feeder contests, and then the winners of each of those contests become the finalists in the Ironviz. Those 3 finalists have 20 minutes to build a dashboard live in front of the audience. And then they have to tell a story, answer, whatever questions the judges might have, and then everybody gets to vote via Twitter or whatever on their favorite person. So this Ironviz, the winner was Will Sutton. Second place came Kinley Scott, and third was CJ Mays. I will say that every single Ironviz participant accomplishes something that I would never, like, I don't need that kind of stress in my life. Like, that's just too much. So the fact that they're up there at all, presenting anything in 20 minutes, blows my mind. So they're all amazing. And then, okay, so opinion alert. This is my opinion and not the views of anybody else or organization except for my own. But Kinley deserved first place, in my opinion. She, not only did she have the most impactful story supported by her data viz, she was the only person who had to overcome a whole bunch of other like generational barriers. So she was an Asian woman, just a cute tiny little thing, and she's from Australia. And if you follow Ironviz, last year was the very first year that a woman won it ever. And somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but in terms of like not people who are not Caucasian, that's only happened like once. It was like, I think it was an Indian guy. Okay, yeah. So long story short, it's been a long string of white guys. I mean, I love you, but there are other people in the world. So just like taking into account the barriers that she had to overcome to get to that point that those other guys did not, and the fact that her story was genuinely better. I think that she lost because her Viz didn't have a whole bunch of like super complicated, like, and in my opinion, totally unnecessary. Like, you don't need a violin chart to solve a problem. You just don't. I mean, so it was like she didn't flex her muscles her technical muscles in the same way that the guys did, and I think that that's ultimately what cost her first place. But I think that she absolutely deserved it. So, I just had to share that with you guys. Let me grab some water. Too much talking.
Do you use dashboards?
Yeah, a couple of them on there, some like
Well, and they typically are what's elected as business for the following. So they're all available on Tableau Public.
Yeah. Yeah, go check them out. You can let me know if you disagree. I can handle it. Okay, so Wednesday was a big day. We rounded that out with data night out. Okay, so that was myself, Luke Comiskey, and Christopher. Why can't I remember his last name? Olson, thank you. Yeah, we were having a good time. So data night out is the night where all the data nerds get to go out and have fun, and Tableau puts on, just a super cool party. There was the ball pit. There was like a station where you could get your face like glitterized or like fake eyelashes. There was synchronized swimming show, and lots of good food and drinks and all that stuff. It was a really fun time. Yeah, some weirdo dressed up like Thor, like Thor went to the
Like the Wish.com version of
Wish.com. Yeah. Somebody went through their extra trash bags and made a Thor costume.
Or went to Target and bought something specifically for it.
And so, funny story. So over here on the right here, these are Ken and Kevin Fleurlage, and these guys are trouble, by the way. And so we took some pictures, and then I went back and looked at them, and then I realized that this picture somehow weirdly looks like one of the two of them just proposed to me, and I said yes. It's like, I'm all like, look at, yeah,
Oh, that's all?
right? It's just like, I don't know where that came from. I was doing something weird with my hand, but it made me chuckle. So this was the night where mistakes were made. I stayed up way too late. It was like 3:30 Vegas time, which is 5:30 in the morning, Minnesota time, and like, this is a girl who goes to bed at like 10 o'clock every night. Every night, like I will fall asleep during movies at like 8 p.m. Like that's me. So it was a big deal, and my body hated me for many days afterwards. So good thing it only happens once a year. And then, so here's my public service announcement, and probably the highlight of this night. When me and Ken and Kevin were walking back from Caesar's Palace to Mandalay Bay in the wee hours of the morning, I slipped on, yes, a ham sandwich that was on the ground that I didn't see. Who does that? I don't.
Vegas is a weird place.
And it just, like, there had to be so much mayo on there because it was so slippery. It was, yeah. So, for like a millisecond, Kevin and Ken were like genuinely worried about my safety. And then we kind of all realized what had happened, that a human being actually slipped on a random ham sandwich that was on the ground in Vegas. And then we laughed our butts off
But you were okay.
I was completely fine. But I did fall on a ham sandwich in front of the Fleurlage twins. So,
know the story of the ham sandwich. How does a ham sandwich just end up on?
Right?
From that
Someone
perspective.
who doesn't believe in
I mean, in Vegas, it's probably less. The streets of Vegas are not going to give you 5 seconds to pick that up before there's some kind of like herpes on there. Anyway, so that's my my ham sandwich story. So if you guys see anything on Twitter or LinkedIn where I'm the butt of a joke that involves ham sandwiches, that's the story behind it.
Next conference, people will be wearing things with just a ham sandwich on it. Right,
What's
there
that?
you go.
Yeah, different kind of hamming it up. Love it. So yeah, that was literally the most memorable part of the night. All right, so that was, I mean, that took us into Thursday. Somehow, probably because I needed like, 800 grams of carbs to just get through the rest of that day, I did get up at like 8 o'clock and make it to some more sessions, and with my electrolytes completely out of balance, and just trying to still get the most out of this. So yeah, I attended a couple sessions on Thursday morning. In conferences past, they usually have like a closing keynote, like somebody that is maybe like less involved in the Tableau community, but someone who like kind of like a nerdy celebrity. Like in the past, they've had Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye, Adam Savage. They had the guys who wrote Freakonomics, many others. This year they did not have that, which was, I was like, it was okay, because I think most people were just like, I'm ready to leave Vegas now, go home. So it was just kind of a soft end. Like it didn't end on that sort of big bang, that big note like conferences in past. It just kind of faded into the distance. But it was still very, very fun.
And very gentle nudge towards Salesforce at any part of the CC22.
You mean, like the Salesforce vibe was absolutely there.
Like if you're not really migrating towards Salesforce, tiptoeing, at least for some functionality that you come interested in, you're not Tableau.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it was so much, there probably wasn't to that extent, but the Salesforce vibe was evident. Like you could tell that it was Salesforce branding, and I don't think, like, I am, at least right now, not concerned that the product itself will be swallowed up by Salesforce. I know. Same.
I use NetSuite and I'm terrified of it actually.
And more than anything, though, they're definitely showing it as a piece of the entire ecosystem.
Yeah.
So they have their space and data village too, and I like how all of Salesforce is part of it. All these things work out awesome together. They don't have that vibe.
Yeah.
There was a lot of presence from Salesforce marketing folks, all the way up to the CMO who I ran into, that were there intentionally to gauge sort of the nature of the Tableau community, because it was our first in-person event since 2019. So I genuinely felt like they were curious about trying to preserve the spirit of what makes Tableau unique. And so while there was definitely that encroachment from a marketing standpoint, I didn't feel like what I hold dearest about the Tableau community was threatened necessarily. So
Yeah, but you're not alone. I think there's like
There's
an edge.
over from the Twin Cities Salesforce user group and your group.
Unknown.
not that I've seen.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless if there are, they're sleeper agents. They haven't made themselves known yet. Let me check the chat again and just see. Do you eat any ham sandwiches?
Next month I want to see a viz about like the no ratio. Oh yeah, absolutely. Those are the polygons. That looks pretty cool. Yeah. Everybody's just talking
Okay.
about ham
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing any important comments. Okay. All right. So to round this out, not all the sessions were recorded. seemed to me that like the community sessions, like the Vizzies weren't recorded. A lot of the sessions that were being presented by like community ambassadors, social ambassadors, public ambassadors didn't get recorded, which is kind of a bummer. Yeah. Yeah, all of the sessions had been recorded in the past. Every single one.
Lots, a lot of like the Roberts, the road knowledge presentations. And I
think it was a mix.
I think it was more a side effect of them preparing a conference in 3 months instead of a full year plus out. A lot of the people whose sessions were super well attended and sold out that weren't recorded have committed to presenting those at things like Tableau Fringe Festival and Tableau user groups that will be recorded.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So you'll have another chance, hopefully. But it is a bit of a tragedy that they weren't all recorded. But what do you do? There are still quite a number of them that are accessible on their website. They're not all recorded, so that's sad. I walked about 25 miles in 3 days. So that probably only slightly counteracted the amount of crappy food that I ate and drank, but still, you do a lot of walking in Vegas. So if you do come, please, for the love of God, wear comfortable shoes. And then I packed up super early on Friday morning and headed home to go squish on my babies and get back to my family. They did announce at the end of the Ironviz challenge that the Tableau Conference 2023 is going to happen. They did say it would be in May again, 2023. They're probably shifting to May as like the normal cadence. My guess, I have no other reason to believe this other than just my own hunch, but I think it's going to be in Vegas again. They're probably going to put it more on like a repeat, like, you know, make it easier to just kick this thing out.
Also, they're on a multi-year contract with them.
Yeah.
It was kind of delayed by the pandemic, but we're still seeing sort of a continuation of that. So.
Yeah. So probably Vegas. And then exact dates are TBD. So you should absolutely consider coming. It's just such a fun time. And there's so many great sessions and there's so many great people. And I mean, like, everyone is just really accessible. And like, even these people that you like, you know, fan girl or boy over online are there, and you can just go up and be like, whoa, and try not to say something stupid. But yeah, it's super great. I highly recommend that you bring this up with your, you know, the people that you report to, and just get ahead of it and say, I'd like to go to this. What do I got to do? What do I got to do to get there? So we had an okay contingency for Minneapolis, given, you know, the like that there was like 90% less people there than there was. We still had probably like 10, 12. But we've got a super good crew here in Minneapolis, and I would love to see more of y'all's faces at the next conference. All right. Would anybody like to share a favorite moment? I know, Vince, you're just like, which one should I share?
No, I'm happy to. Do you want me to take it?
No, come on up here. It's probably better if people can see your faces.
Do my best not to unplug everything all at once.
Don't trip.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Vince. This was my 7th Tableau conference, 5th in person. And each conference I've attended, I've approached with a very different strategy. The very first conference I went to, I was hands-on as much as possible. Anytime I could have a laptop in front of me, I was doing it. So I did a certification that year. I did a lot of like longer duration hands-on trainings and stuff like that. And I came away with a much deeper skill set. The following year, I focused entirely on community initiatives. and driving a fundraising campaign that I was kind of in charge of, that raised a lot of money to help a lot of people in Vegas right after the shooting in 2017. And then after that, the next year I chose topics based on who was speaking, completely irrelevant of what they were talking about and whether it had anything to do with my day-to-day job. I knew the people who were the best in the world at what I sucked at, and I just wanted to gain something through osmosis. And I'm really glad that I did that. And then we had, the 2 pandemic years, and I can talk about those, some other time. But this time I went with the intention of prioritizing the time in between sessions, prioritizing the extra day of padding I gave myself before the conference and after the conference, and really making it a point to get up early, to engage with people before the sessions began, and to irresponsibly stay up late and really make conference about everything that wasn't a session. Part of that was because I wasn't able to register until about a week before, and I assumed all of the sessions would have been fully booked out anyway, which many of them were. But I gained so much just in strengthening the relationships that I had with other community members and meeting people who I've been chatting with for years online that I assumed had known everybody else as well, but had never been to an in-person conference before. And it's kind of a surreal moment where you can see that people are a foot taller than you expected they would be, or a foot shorter. Yeah, it's beautiful. But yeah, so I had a lot of really, really great memories. But for me, I think one of the ones that stood out to me the most, and Serena covered this really well, was the keynote about the Tableau Foundation. I had worked with them in the past and knew that they were the philanthropic arm and that they had helped out a lot with the fundraising initiative I had done. But to see in current events how they were leveraging their expertise in data and analytics and the tools that they have available to genuinely help people at the scale that they were helping, everybody walked away from that keynote kind of blown away by just emotionally the power of what Tableau is doing, aside from just trying to sell licenses. And I think in the face of the Salesforce acquisition and this fear around whether the big corporate hammer is going to come and squash this little thing that we've created that we love, it was such a cool reminder that the legacy that we're building as a community goes beyond our day jobs. It goes beyond attending a conference once a year, but there is actual people whose lives are being made better by some of the stuff that Tableau is doing and the passion that we as a community are throwing at it too. So yeah, if there's one thing I would recommend going back and rewatching, that would be it.
Yeah, that was really a good one.
Yeah, so
Thanks, Vince.
you bet.
Okay. Is anybody online? Did anybody? Yeah, agency restrictions. Yeah, any highlights from our online contingency? Or are y'all just ready to play Kahoot? Oh, there's Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hello. I'd say for me, I think I just jumped on, so apologies if someone's already said this, but so I joined the Tableau community in general, like at the very start of the pandemic. So we're basically like the last 2 years, it's been interaction with people just on Twitter and very, very little minimal like Zoom calls or whatnot. So to me, being able to go to Tableau Conference, I thought it was just so wonderful to finally meet so many of the people that I admire and I look up to in person for the very first time. And trying not to be, too much of a fanboy of, different people who I read their blogs and I love their stuff and I follow their content. But that was to me the biggest, most influential part of Tableau Conference. And I guess outside of just being able to meet people and network and engage, there were a handful of really awesome sessions. There was one in particular that was about, oh goodness, I think it was by two folks from Booz Allen Hamilton about how like the DoD is leveraging Tableau to be able to track where like Humvees are. And I'm serving in the Guard. That to me is like a fascinating talking point. So I thought that there were a couple of really cool industry specific things in addition to some hands-on stuff that I just thought were cool. But anyway, I'll put my hand down and go on mute.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, you're totally right. Like you meet those people and then you're like, be cool. Just be cool. Be cool. It's tough.
How many people fans that listen to Sam?
I'm sure
I
a fair amount of
unabashedly, I
people.
was one of them.
Yeah, I'm not a fan
It was
over
great to finally meet you, Sam.
fan over seeing Sam every time. I got to meet his wife. So yeah, she was super cute. All right. Okay, let's give this Kahoot thing a try. So Sam, we're gonna do our own version of name that Tableau function. Kahoot style. So all right, let me escape out of here. Okay. All right, admittedly, I have not done a Kahoot before. So cross your fingers that this goes smoothly. Like I've played them, but I haven't hosted one. So yes, so you guys can do this on your phones. You can do this on your desktops. I think, yeah, I want this classic mode one. So you go to, the link is Kahoot.it. And then you type in this game pin. Good? Yeah.
I'm fine with us getting rid of the music.
Music is great.
All right.
Because I'm so jazzed that like there's somebody else named Serena on here. That's never happened before, ever. I mean, it's spelled different, but I'm just rooting for her just because. All right, we have 24. Give you guys another like 10 seconds. And then we'll start it.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Okay, I'm gonna try to make this thing smaller. Okay. Okay, let's start it. Ready? Name that Tableau function. There are 8 questions. Some of them are multiple choice or like choice, and some of them are type your answer. So we have, what function rounds a number to the nearest integer of equal or lesser value? The correct answer is floor. Nice. I thought that the word round in there might throw people off, and it looks like it did. But so it's rounding it down. That's it.
Yeah, I just misread it as greater or lesser value for some reason.
All good. I made some dumb mistakes while I was playing this too. But so did Luke. Yeah. Right. Try doing this like live in front of like, you don't even know how many people are there. With camera in your face and you're like, oh, hope I don't have a booger in my nose or something. Okay. All right. Vince is in the lead. Somebody's gotta go after him. Okay, question number 2. Which function does not begin and end with the curly bracket? Ooh, yes. All right, let's see. Vince still in the lead, followed by James. And then we have Anna in third. All right, some of them are kind of hard. So let's see. This is a type and answer, guys. What value would this function return? Admittedly, this is not a function that I think I've ever used in like practicality, but I could see a use case for it for sure.
Yeah.
Got it. 8. Wow. Many of you got that right. Good job. It's just the absolute value. An absolute value is just the positive version of whatever number it is. So if it was 8, it would be 8. If it's -8, it's 8. Yes. That is a much smarter way to explain that. Thank you. All right. Let's see if we've got an upset here. All right. We've got someone who has the highest answer streak of 3. It's Nkosi. I'm probably saying that wrong. I apologize.
Bring it on.
All right, let's do it. So another type and answer. Oh, what function returns the expression if it is not null, otherwise returns 0?
Autocorrect.
I don't think it's case sensitive. Only 5. ZN. It's not case sensitive.
It definitely screwed up the case.
Yeah, it's funny because like, you know, 0 null is I use that one a lot. But when you read like how Tableau describes that function, it's like, wait, what? That doesn't sound right. Anyway. Okay. This guy? Like this? I'll just put it down here. Yes. Okay, let's see where we're at for scores. Vince, steady and holding. You do have some people on your heels though. It's just coming to get you. All right, question number 5. It's multi-select. Which 2 functions require end at the end of its statement? This actually was one of the questions that I had to answer. Stole it. Yep. If and case. The if, null, and when are actually other functions that you can call in if and case statements, but they are not the function that requires an end. All right. 6 of 8, this is a type in answer. What function returns true if the given string contains a specified substring? What function returns true if the given string contains a specified string? Ten of you got contains. Yeah, the answer was in the sentence, but yeah. Isn't it hard? It's so hard to do this. I thought so too. All right, let's see where we're at. Vince, oh, he is crushing, you're crushing it. Now I'm kind of glad that I wasn't up against you. It's just Luke. All right, 7 of 8, we got 2 more. The following is syntax for what function? So what you're looking for is what would replace the word expression in that syntax. Only 2 options this time. 50-50. Nice. It is rank. So you're ranking something and then you're telling it whether it's going to be in ascending or descending order. All right, let's see. Vince, you must have gotten that one right away. Okay, last question, guys, is to type your answer. What function returns the number of items in a group? I mean, yeah, there would be a difference. Count. Yeah, not distinct count. It would, the description would have to include the word distinct for it to be count D.
Right, I was thinking size.
Oh. Yeah, I don't. That's one that I got wrong in that game too. I don't even remember what the question was, but the answer was size, and I was like, I was like,
why can't I remember the answer?
I was like, what? It wasn't that it was a different question that the answer was size to in that game. I don't remember what the question was. Blocked that out from my memory. But yeah, I was like, who uses size?
I've used size if I'm trying to build a list. And if the number of items in the list exceed a certain threshold, and I would just say like contains multiple or something like that.
Huh. All right. Well, I expect a presentation on that in the near future. The use cases for this function size.
Although least used
It's yeah, the obscure functions and what you can do with them.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So, all right. It's gonna be a shocker here, right? Who was BLE? Wait.
Didn't take it out.
Who took you out? That was an upset, girl. Yes.
Come on.
That was awesome. Awesome. That was awesome. Next year, I actually was like, can I call a friend? It's like, I got like 4 people I can call who will know this. And that's what it's all about, really? Wow. That's okay. You're taking time for you. Yep. It's all good. Okay, well,
Normally I have the Chrome tab and you
I know, right?
count of items, Tableau.
Yeah, let me turn the music off.
Takes 5 seconds.
Or you just search in the list.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is that we're never doing these things from memory, right? Like, there's always Google. There's.
Clearly I need to put my crutches away now, because I didn't review those numbers.
But that's like unless we're doing these games just for fun, there really isn't a need for you to have all this stuff memorized. You can create your own documents of like functions that you use and what their use cases are, and like that's what this community is all about. Is to be able to like post something on Twitter or LinkedIn or call somebody or email somebody and be like, I don't know how to do this. How the heck do I do this? Somebody's there and somebody will know. So this is just for fun. Please don't, like, if you didn't do as well as you thought you could or should, just know that like this is not a real life situation. This is all for fun. We're all here for everybody. So don't feel bad. Right? Yeah.
So there's chats.
Oh, let's see the chats.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Greg says unless you need to pass an exam. Yep. But like every other exam we've taken in our lives, you only remember it long enough to pass the exam, and then the information leaves your brain immediately. At least that's how it is for me. All right. Do we have time for our group therapy? Get to remember. Let's see who's still hanging out.
See if we can solve the problem that
Yeah, do you guys?
the Tableau paragons weren't able to.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll.
Put on a bow tie.
Okay. So here's my issue. I have a client that is using Google Analytics. They want to analyze that data. So we've connected Tableau Desktop. We have set up the right dimensions and measures. I have successfully created the extract. I have successfully published to Tableau server without any errors. All is beautiful and fine. Like the levels of aggregation are correct. And then when I go set it up for either an incremental refresh, which is based on date, or a full refresh, it fails. And the error that it gives me is unknown. The credentials are embedded. I have done this like 14 times over just to make sure. But that is my issue. I cannot get this client's Google Analytics data to refresh automatically in Tableau server. And it's the particular extract, although I have tried it on a smaller extract, but the extract that they want to use is huge. And it literally takes like an hour and a half to render. And I'm not doing that every day. Like that's just, even though I could bill them for it, that'd be great. It just doesn't feel right. So.
You figure if it's timing out on the query that it would be able to identify that in the error code.
You would think. But yeah, error code is unknown. Does anybody?
The pop-up giant error code that you can do the server it just says unknown.
No, and nothing pops up actually. I only know that it fails by going in and looking at all the way over on the right hand side. You get the little warning, the yield, like yield, something has happened here, and then you hover over it and it's like unknown failure. So that's my problem. I have logged a support ticket with Tableau on the client's behalf, but I'm just like, somebody's got to be like, we can't be the only people using Google Analytics data. Like, is anybody successfully refreshing their Google Analytics data? The client, or is this uncharted territory for this crew? Anybody on?
Yeah, the chat.
I mean, I don't know this, but I haven't.
Yeah, I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's just it's like a common thing. And then, so at first I was like, oh, bring it to Tableau Prep. because they have all this historical data. I was like, well, if I can just use that hyper extract and then do an incremental refresh through Tableau Prep, you can't connect Tableau Prep to Google Analytics. It's not. The workaround is if you connect your Google Analytics data to Google Sheets and then connect Tableau Prep or Tableau Desktop to your Google Sheets, but like that just seems like an unnecessary.
Well, and I'm not sure what the row limit for Google Sheets is either.
True.
If you're talking huge data set, that might be a problem.
Yeah, it's super long but skinny. It's like 4 years of data, but there's only, you know, five fields, something like that.
Google Analytics, I work in a Postgres database. Does Google Analytics have a tool, something like PG admin, you can try to see if queries fail outside of that one?
I don't know.
Not that long.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't know if they have
When I
something
have
like that.
failure with my data set, I go to just database admin tool and see if I can run the same query, just play the SQL and see if it pulls up on it.
Yeah, I don't
Do
think, I
Do
don't
they have
know.
any other tools available? ETL tools or anything?
It's a good question. Not that I know of.
I was gonna say, because if we're using something like Matillion or
Yeah, they're definitely not using those ones. Okay. Well, I did not, like, it's okay, guys. Like, I was prepared for this to be unanswered.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the size of the data is a red flag, but again, if it was timing out, you figure one of the most
Yeah.
common errors that we chose.
I mean, like, if the initial extract runs successfully, like,
Just
why
a refresh.
can't I get your, you know, like, I don't know.
Unless there's a window
beyond
of time on the Tableau server side where it kind of like bounds the overall time of an extract query. But
But like the bulk of the data is already cached in the hyperfile and uploaded to the server. It's only the date, like the additional daily rows. So it shouldn't be that much, a few thousand, I don't know. A couple of tens of thousands, anyway. Like literally 14 times. Yeah. Yep, yep, yep.
It just sounds glitchy, like, I don't know how you explain it. It probably not even suggest only because your other one's just like a no issue, they just published it.
Yeah. The only thing I could think of is that maybe it's a firewall thing, because they are essentially renting space on someone else's Tableau Online instance, Tableau Cloud, and so you know the normal like administrative, you know, interfaces and you know, just data that you might be able to look at is not available. Like everything is just inside their project on the Tableau Cloud instance.
you can't pull in the server log.
I can't pull server. I mean, I can ask. I can go to the right people, but I just wonder like if there's a firewall issue.
Authentication.
Yeah,
They want to have online, not server.
it is on Tableau Cloud. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it's not a private server
I know I went really much issues.
because of whatever settings they have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would do it.
And then I'm like, well, that's a needle in the haystack, especially since I don't have direct access to it. So, okay.
I think setting up a ticket is probably the right call.
Yep. I'm just, you know, and ask one of y'all, get it done quicker, faster.
Somehow has a different structure. Something with characters.
I mean, I've recreated that whole extract, so there shouldn't be any like legacy, like, you know,
as soon as we kick it out all in one refresh, then it works.
No,
Oh,
I can create the initial extract initially. It's any type of automatic refresh on top of that that fails. So
Or
any refresh. Yeah, if I want to update that data, I have to go to desktop, recreate the whole thing, and then publish it. And it literally takes like an hour and a half.
that makes me think that caching on Tableau Cloud servers.
Can be. Yeah, there's something strange going on. All right, well, I will, if I figure it out, I'll let you guys know. Can't be the only person. What I did hear from like Ann Jackson and the Pluralage guys about it was that Google Analytics is a funky data source to work with, just because it's not like a true data source connector. It's actually like, it's like an API, like skinned over Tableau. So anyway, all right. See events. Okay, I know we're a little bit over time. Optional, like for those of you guys that are here, if anybody wants to head over to Tavern 23 and grab a drink, I'm probably gonna do that just so I don't have to go home and cook. If anybody online is local and wants to join us for that, you're more than welcome as well. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next month. Hope you had fun. Thanks, Lee.
Hey, Serena, did you see the link I just posted?
I'm just looking at that now. I'm gonna guess that I've looked at this article because I feel like I've looked at every article.
Okay. I figure you had, but he is suggesting looking at the sequel that it running.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take a look at this one, Greg. It does look like, oh, rebuild the extract. Did that. I'm not the admin of the GA account.
I had an extract that got so messed up that I had to rebuild it entirely and alter it.
Oh, really?
But I had to do everything that the data source page and have the best possible meeting and alter it. Now it works great, but it was taking 45 minutes for me to see that as that. To reload the extract every single time I changed the data.
It would actually load.
It would load the whole
That's
extract.
amazing.
All right, yeah, I'll check that out, Greg. Thanks for sharing that.
Well, yeah,
I'm gonna,
good luck.
thank you. I'm gonna end the meeting. So we'll see you or see you in a month, okay?
Bye.
Bye.